Today is February 28th, 2025. This is Stephen Theccanat representing the City of Savannah's Municipal Archives as a volunteer from the Learning Center, Senior Citizens Incorporated. I'm interviewing.
My name is Eileen Matyjasik.
Okay.
Actually, it's Mary Eileen Matyjasik, but everybody only knows me as Eileen.
Very good. And can you spell your last name?
I will. It's Matyjasik, Matyjasik.
Excellent. Thank you. For the Everyone Has a Story project through the Savannah Community Memory Project. We are conducting this interview at Eileen's home. So thank you for joining me today. So we'll start off, and can you just tell me a little bit about your background?
Sure. I'm the oldest of 4 children. I grew up in a little town outside of Cleveland, Ohio called Rocky River. Went to school there, went to Catholic school all through school. Let me think. I have my next sibling was a boy, and he passed away a couple of years ago. Then I have a sister, Pat, who is in Connecticut, and I have a brother, Don, who is in Texas. My background is mainly teaching. I was a special ed teacher, and I worked primarily with infants and toddlers. And I delivered services by actually going to the homes where they lived and helping the parents as much as I could.
Okay. So anything that you want to add about what your childhood was like? What was it like growing up where you were born and raised? How things were with your parents? You want to, and you can say what you want, and
Sure.
It's totally up to you.
I had very, very nice growing up. My parents, I think, sacrificed quite a bit in order to give us piano lessons and everything that they gave us. We went on a vacation every year. And I know it took a lot of sacrifice on their part to do it, because my dad was a fireman. My mother didn't work until I went to college, and then she did go to work. I remember times when my dad worked 3 jobs, because as a fireman, you work 24 hours on and you are off 48 hours. So he would work the 24, and then this is when he was working 3 jobs. He worked construction, or he sold cars, used cars, or he did something on those 2 off days. And then at night, he would go to the bowling alley, scrape the lanes, and then repolish the lanes. So I know they worked really, really hard. It's so interesting because, you know, if I said to them, they've gone on now, but if I said to them something about sacrifice, they would say, oh, this isn't sacrifice. This is what we want to do. So, and I have adopted that same feeling, that whatever we're doing it because we enjoy it, and because we want to spend time with the kids and grandkids. And so we go on a vacation every year also. Usually it's the whole family, our kids, grandkids, sometimes with my sister and sister-in-law. So as a matter of fact, last summer we went to Italy. 19 of us went and had a wonderful time.
Great. Very good. So if your father was working 3 jobs,
Yes.
what was that like? Was he not away from home a lot?
He was, but he was, what was interesting was my mother never drove, ever. So my dad would be the one to do the grocery shopping and, you know, take my mom where she had to go, so on and so forth. So what was interesting was when I turned 16, my father brought a used car home for me. And the method to his madness was, well, now she can drive mom around wherever she has to go, take her grocery shopping, etc., etc. So anyway, he really was, he was very available, and I'll explain why. He was a fireman in the town we lived in. So it was not unusual at all for me and my brother, or me and friends of ours, to just go up to the fire station and visit him. So I had a really beautiful relationship with my dad and my mom, but I think I was a little closer to my dad, and I had a really wonderful life.
Very good. And what about, did you stayed in the same place through high school and college, or what happened out during that time?
I stayed in the same place. Actually, my parents built, let me think about this. 1, 2, 3, 4. My parents built 5 homes in this little town.
Wow.
And they used to say that my dad let a house burn down so that he could get a lot and build on it. But anyway, so we had always had a brand new home. Every home we lived in was a brand new home. It was really wonderful. My dad was a general contractor, and then he would get subs to come in and do the work, although my dad did most of the finish work. Yeah. So, and then for college, I went to Detroit, Michigan, and went to a Catholic women's college there, and that's where I met Bob. Bob went to the University of Detroit, which is a Jesuit school, and we met when I was a freshman. In fact, it was like in April of my freshman year, and we never saw anybody else after that. We were very lucky to find each other.
Excellent. And you mentioned your teaching, so what was your major in college?
Oh, my major was special ed.
Okay.
And however, I got married after my junior year.
All right.
And Bob was in the military, so he went to Oklahoma City, and I finished my last year at the University of Oklahoma in special ed.
Okay. And then your career, you immediately stayed in Oklahoma for your job?
We stayed in Oklahoma for his military, but not long after I graduated, I had our first child. Mm-hmm. And I was pretty much a stay-at-home mom until we moved back to Rocky River. And that's when Bob was in a law practice. And actually, he was kind of on his own, but with some other attorneys. And that's when I ended up going to work.
Okay.
And I was lucky. I worked for the county that we lived in. They had, in those days, they called it the Board of Mental Retardation, Developmental Disabilities. And I started as a sub, and I actually worked with adults. I worked with school-age kids. And in Ohio at that time, it was a segregated situation. All kids with disabilities and adults with disabilities had a separate facility, each one. And I remember having our superintendent talk to us, and he said, I was teaching school age at the time, and he said, if you want to stay working for the county, the best thing you can do is either get a master's in early childhood special ed or a master's in adult learning. So I got it in early childhood, and I absolutely loved my job.
Wow. What made you pick that particular area of specialty?
You know, that's a really great question. When I was in high school, I volunteered at a home for children with handicaps. And I did it with a friend of mine, a girlfriend of mine. We took the bus from the west side all the way over to the east side of Cleveland, and it was managed by the nuns that I had in grade school and high school. So we knew the nun that was the head of it. And I think that's what did it. I just loved working with those kids.
Wow, great. And so you stayed in that particular job in that area for how long?
30 years.
Oh, so that was, okay.
Yeah, I had a couple other jobs because I was getting certified in Ohio.
Uh-huh.
So I was in school part of that time to get the Ohio certification. But So it probably, I worked maybe about 10 years or less. No, less than that before I went to work for the county.
And that's because you were raising your kids, you said, right?
Yes.
And how many kids do you have?
I have 3 children.
Okay.
Sheila is the oldest, Megan, and Ryan. Sheila is the reason we moved here. She's a professor at SCAD. And Megan and her husband have now moved here as well. And our son and his wife and grandkids live in California.
Okay. All right. And how's your relationship with your kids?
It's wonderful.
Good.
I'm really proud of all of them. They work very hard. And they play very hard.
Oh, excellent. Very good. So when did you move to Savannah? I know why you moved to Savannah, but when was that?
I moved to Savannah in 2009.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And that's when you stopped working, or did you continue to work in Savannah?
No, I stopped working. Actually, I was able to retire.
Ah, okay.
And got a great retirement. I was starting to tell you, working for the county was really wonderful. I was involved with the union at that time, and we had an excellent contract. I worked on a couple contract negotiations, and they paid you for your sick days. They paid you for if you wanted to take a course in something, they paid for most of it. They paid to go on any kind of professional development. So it was really a terrific job, and I loved the people that I worked with.
Wow. Excellent. Good. So once you retired, you moved to Savannah pretty much immediately, didn't have to do any work here. And then you mentioned Bob. So did Bob also retire at the same time?
Bob retired as well. It was interesting.
Which year was that? Sorry?
I'm sorry?
Which year was that you came to Savannah?
2009.
2000. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Actually, I'm going to back up a little bit. The oldest grandchild was due in August of 2008. We came to Savannah quite a bit. Sheila came here in 1998 to get her MFA. So, we came all the time for visits to see her. But Arlo, who is the oldest grandchild, was due August of 2008. And so in February of 2008, we bought a home on the south side.
Huh.
And because we knew we wanted to spend time with the baby, and we didn't want to take it to a hotel, and we just wanted a nice situation for the baby. And at that time, I was doing home visits exclusively. For a while, I had a toddler class, and I had a preschool class, but then I just did home visits, and I mainly did home visits for families who were the mom and the dad were both working. So I did a lot of evening visits and a lot of weekend visits. So I was able to get all my hours in enough so that one weekend a month, I was able to come down here and spend time with my daughter and spend time with Arlo, and it's just a nice situation.
Wow. And then the following year, you came here full time, 2009.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
With Bob, because Bob retired also.
He did. Actually, he retired this is going to sound funny, he retired in January of 2010, but he had so much time that he, he had a shoulder replaced, and then we all went on a family vacation, and then we moved down here in October of 2009.
Very good. And so now, since you moved to Savannah, is this the house? No, you said you bought another house.
Bought another house, and then Bob is extremely handy. He actually renovated the house that we had.
Yep.
And then we stayed in that home while he totally redid this home. This one. Yeah. I mean, he gutted the kitchen, totally redid it. He put in when we first looked at this house, I said, "Can you move the staircase?" And he said, "Yeah, I can do that."
That's amazing.
Moved the staircase, had it all redesigned, redid everything,
Wow.
basically.
Wow. How long did that take?
It took about a year.
Wow. Huh.
Yeah.
Great.
But it was fine. I mean, by that time, they had their second baby,
Okay.
Oscar. We call him Ozzy.
Uh-huh.
And then that was basically it.
Wow. Okay, so you said now you have how many grandchildren?
4.
4, right. There's 2 here.
2 are here. And then in California, Millie is 15.
Uh-huh.
She's in between Arlo and Ozzy.
Uh-huh.
And then Walt is 11.
Okay.
And he is, let me think, he's in 5th grade.
Okay. Very good. Okay.
Millie's in high school,
Mhm.
at a wonderful high school.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
And how often do you get to see them?
At least 4 times a year we
Oh,
see them.
Very good. You
Yeah,
go
we
there?
go out there and they come here, or else we meet for what we call Maddie Fest, which is part of our last name, Maddie,
Uh-huh.
and then we add the fest to it because it's always a gathering of all of us.
Very good. That's great. That's great. And so this setup that you have here has been working out because now both daughters are here, right? In Savannah,
Yes.
So this is working out.
Right.
So beyond, I guess, being grandparents and having your kids, what else do you do with your free time now that you're retired?
I am involved with the League of Women Voters.
Okay. Tell me about that.
Very involved. I firmly believe, well, it's interesting. The League had kind of basically gone out of business. I think that was at around 2010. And then we had an election and in 2016, and we decided we needed to start to urge people to vote again. And it's actually a nonpartisan organization, and we feel strongly that regardless who you're voting for, it's important that people exercise their right to vote.
Oh.
So in 2017, there was a little gathering. I saw something on Facebook that there was going to be a gathering to restart the League of Women Voters. And so I went to the meeting, and also Karen went, our friend Karen, who you know. And we went to this meeting, and it was run by a woman named Cuffy Sullivan, who is, she's a real go-getter. She started the children's choir, and she'd started a whole bunch of organizations. But Karen and I, our assignment from that meeting was to look up the history of the League in Savannah. What were the things that they did? What did they push for? So on and so forth. And then the second meeting was going to be with women who worked, because we wanted them to be involved as much as possible. So Karen and I went to the 5 spot on Habersham, and we were kind of laughing and saying, there probably isn't going to be anybody here, So, but we were all set with our history of the League in Savannah, and we walked into this one room that had about 90 people in it.
Wow.
It was shocking, absolutely shocking.
That's amazing.
But women really felt it was important. And then we actually went on to expand a bit, because we feel that men should also be members, and they are. We've tried to become as diverse as possible. That's not quite as easy, because a lot of the women are working. But I've been the treasurer for the last 4 years, and I'll be giving that up in May.
Okay. But you'll still stay connected?
Oh, yes. I'll still be in.
And is the focus still on getting, I guess, men and women to vote?
Yeah.
That's the focus?
Everybody.
Okay. How do you advertise it? What do you do to...
What we do is, for example, if there's a big election, like a presidential election, we will have signs made, and we spend quite a bit of money. Our president and then past president, who is the same person, really knows how to fundraise, and she got a lot of money for us. And so we've paid to have signs done. We do door hangers to encourage people to vote. We canvass. We do all kinds of things to encourage people to vote.
Oh, okay. That's very good. And how much time do you think that takes as far as, filling up your free time?
I usually spend about 2 or 3 hours a week on it. And then we have a board meeting once a month. And we have some terrific people that are involved.
Very good. So in the board, how many people are in the board?
There are, on the executive board, there are 5.
Okay.
So president, vice president, treasurer, and secretary, and an at-large member. And then there are also other people who head committees.
Okay.
Like, we have a committee called Issues and Advocacy. We have a committee on programs, because we like to give programs. So there are a number of different things that people get involved with. We have somebody who does communication for us. And I'm forgetting some of the other ones right now.
So since you got involved, do you have a sense of the impact your organization has had in getting people to vote?
Yes, the last election, we had more people than we've ever had vote.
Okay.
Which we were very happy about. And I should also tell you that the league encompasses from the state line of South Carolina, starts there, and it goes all the way down to Florida.
Wow.
So it is called League of Women Voters of Coastal Georgia.
And that includes Florida?
It doesn't include Florida. It just includes all the way down to Florida.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
All the, I guess I'll call them like the ocean touching.
Yes. Correct. Great. That's very good. Okay. And then what about, how did you get involved with the Learning Center?
I actually have only gone to classes.
Okay. How do you know about it?
Oh, I know about it because Karen and Bruce, we've been friends with them since they moved here. And they decided to teach this class, and we said, oh, well, we want to go to that class. And so ever since they've done it, we've gone to their class.
Okay. So that's the main thing you attend at the Learning Center?
That's the main thing. Although we just did a course, a man by the name of Jay Sherman, or Sherwin, I'm sorry, just did a brief course on writing a legacy letter, which I thought was terrific.
Okay. Very good. Very good. So it's been a few years, right? 2 or 3 years that Karen and Bruce have been.
I think they've done it 5 or 6.
Okay, so that whole time you've been part of it.
Oh yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
good.
Definitely.
All right, and so that particular part is, how would you describe being able to attend those classes? And
we love it. I mean, I think for us, we pay more attention now. We pay attention to all of the people that are working on it and the producers, and Karen has done a wonderful job of piquing our interest, and we've loved every single year that they've done it. It's been wonderful.
Very good. All right, so that's quite good. So you have your grandmother role, your League of Women Voters, the Learning Center.
Yes.
Anything else that fills up your time?
Well, I would say we get involved with our grandkids.
Yes.
The older one here is a sophomore at Benedictine, and the younger one's in 8th grade, and he goes to school out at Tybee Island. It's the Tybee Island Maritime Academy, which is a really wonderful public charter school out there. I mean, he was telling us on Wednesday that they have classes on the beach.
Wow.
Many, many days.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and they learned a lot of marine biology. They know a lot about how the moon affects the tides. And I mean, it's just amazing information that he shares with us.
It's a great experience.
Yeah, it is. It's wonderful.
How does he get to Tybee?
His parents take him to a church out on Wilmington, and there's a bus that takes them all the way to Tybee.
Wow.
And then we pick him up at the church. Or right now he's doing soccer and track. So he practices 5 nights a week. So we pick him up a little later on Wilmington, and 2 nights he's out on Tybee.
Wow. So you pick him up and bring him here, or bring him back to his house?
Oh, take him back to his house.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So that's basically
The boys are very independent.
Really
and-
good.
Yeah.
So that's 5 days a week. That's your task.
Yes.
That's a big help for your daughter.
Yeah. Well, we do it because we like it.
Good. Excellent.
Because it's fun for us.
Very good. You can get time with your grandson. And,
Yeah, exactly. Because they're they're almost like adults, and they tell us what they're doing, and it's just really fun.
okay. Very good. How would you describe this stage of your life compared to the previous stages of your life?
I would describe this as probably the very best chapter that Bob and I have spent together. It's been, having grandkids has been so wonderful for us. I mean, every day we say, aren't we lucky that we can do that?
Good.
Be with them, spend time in California with our other grandchildren and our son and daughter-in-law. We have a wonderful life.
Good.
I'm very happy.
Excellent.
And we're just hoping it continues.
Very good. Very good. Any important events that might have happened throughout your life? Some key event that has for you a big significance? Some people would say, 9/11 was a big significance. Somebody would say, the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
Anything that you can think of, if you have anything that you may want to share, that's something that it's in my head.
Something that Bob and I both did at different times was run for office. Bob ran for law director in the town that we lived in Rocky River, and I ran for council at large. That was a real eye-opening experience. Wow. Neither one of us were elected,
I see.
But that's okay.
Right. The process
was very important. We both got to know many more people in town, and we got to know what their needs were, and we got to see this town as being much more, trying to think of a way to come up with it. It's a very nice community, bordering on affluent community, but there were still many people who had a lot of needs and who were living from paycheck to paycheck.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, it was a very fun experience. I enjoyed it.
Wow.
So did Bob.
So this was about the process of running as well as getting to know people, because
Yes.
you probably went to people's homes or...
Yes, exactly. Exactly. The way we did, when Bob was running, we did wine and cheese. If somebody was willing to host, we would bring the wine and we would bring the cheese and we would bring all of that, and they would invite friends. And it gave us a chance to get to know people better.
Oh, great. And how long was that, I guess, the time from beginning to end, how long was it?
From beginning to end, let's see, probably about 8 months, 8 or 9 months.
Quite a bit.
You have to submit your application to run and all of that. So
Right.
yeah, it took a while.
And what made you decide to do this, to run for office?
I just wanted to get more involved.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you tried again? Is
No.
that the only time?
That was the only
And
time.
how long ago was that?
That was in 1987.
Oh, okay.
And Bob ran in 1983.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Okay. What about anything that you would like to share about your experience during COVID-19, or how it have impacted you and your relationship with your kids and grandchildren?
I think that was a tough time for everybody. They would drop the boys off in the morning, and then they would do a Google Classroom because there wasn't here. Yes, they would come here because they weren't going to school. You know, they had closed the schools for a while. So while it was somewhat difficult because they weren't able to meet their friends or see their friends, it was also a nice time for us to see the boys every day. And even now, we take dinner over one night a week to our daughter's house so that, you know, we have a chance to have a family group together once a week.
Okay. That's with both your daughters, or
Mainly just the one with
the kids,
with the grandkids.
And your other daughter?
Our other daughter works at the aquatic center, and she's usually working when we're doing the other stuff.
Okay.
And they now have 2 dogs. That daughter, Megan, and Josh, they have 2 dogs. They got them through a group called One Love, which allows you to foster dogs.
Wow.
And they provide all of the vet, you know, anything you need. And they really love these 2 dogs. So I'm guessing that they will eventually adopt them.
Okay, so they won't be foster for that. So how long have they had the 2 dogs?
They've had them since, I think, October.
Wow.
Yeah.
Quite a while to have dogs in your home.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you can get to see the dogs too.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
Very good. Very
yeah.
good. Okay, that's good. Do you see any changes in the world as a whole, any issues more globally rather than just Savannah in this area that concerns you or that you're happy about or doesn't really matter, or anything that you want to talk about?
I mean, I'm concerned a lot right now. I don't think things are going in a good direction, but I'm hopeful. And I have this phrase, and the phrase is action.
Sorry, go ahead.
So that's what gives me hope.
Okay. And what were the things that you felt were anything that you want to talk about that's troubling for you at this time?
I think the country is going in a very bad direction. I think that the current administration is tyrannical and authoritative, and it worries me a lot. I'm very concerned about Ukraine. I think we need to support Ukraine. It doesn't seem like we are. I'm also concerned about the Palestinians and Israel. I think there's an awful lot going on right now that is negative, and I get concerned sometimes that we're going to end up in another war, another world war.
Okay. Right. So it's good that you still have hope that...
I do.
Because like you said, this is a cycle that we have gone through before.
Yes, yes.
So things are possibly... And then you're working in the league of women voters, you're motivating
that
people.
gives me hope too.
That's right, right. And it's nonpartisan, so...
Right.
Makes sense as well.
Right.
Okay. That's very good. Okay. So, knowing, for the purpose of this to be saved in an archive and people can come and access it and research. Is there anything that you would like to talk about that we haven't addressed that you may think might be important about you and your experience, whether in your life? That we've talked about a lot of things, which is great, but is there anything else that you think that you might want to add?
There is something that I do want to add. We love Savannah. Savannah, we have found, is a town that you can meet people easily, connect with people, and there is always something to do. I mean, in the last week and a half, we've gone to 3 concerts.
Right.
We went to BAM, we went to a concert at the UU Church, we went to a concert at the Lutheran Church. It was just amazing. There's always, you could stay busy every day if you wanted to.
That's very good.
And that's what makes Savannah so wonderful. There's so many offerings, so many great restaurants, so many great people.
Wow, great. So this is a good move for you on many counts.
It was the best.
Yeah.
Really wonderful.
Great.
Yeah.
Very good. All right. So I think this was wonderful to have to sit down and be able to talk to you and for you to be able to share so many elements of your life. I think it's wonderful that you experienced all the things that you've talked about and being here with your kids and grandchildren, and then now the opportunity for other people to come in and maybe hear your story.
Yes.
So I think this is great, and
Thank
I think
you.
thank you so much for doing this.
I appreciate
great.
your help and your prompts, and that was wonderful. Thank you so
Good.
much.
You're welcome.